Good morning. I want to just continue on in my conversation about MAID houses, and sort of near-death experiences, and sort of a thought as I sit and reflect on it, looking at it from my background, what I did my entire career. Um, and I continue to educate myself because that's a part of being a nurse, is that you continuously update and educate yourself. It's not that, back in my time, it was all the soft skills, which are all the skills that are gone, where transhumanists and technocrats don't think that connection and caring and love and all that stuff for your fellow man is a part of it, that it's just tasks, but it isn't. So during my career, obviously, the work I did, I met and worked with a lot of people that were in the process of dying and did die. And when I first started nursing, I have to tell you, I was young, and I found it off-putting, to say the least, because anytime that you're around death or you witness death, it brings up grief issues. If it's people that that die, when other people die, it brings up the issues that we have had with grief. It also it brings to bear our own mortality, and that we indeed will die. This is what the transhumanists are trying to escape by experimenting on you. They are terrified of death, and we need to stop being terrified of death. None of us are going to get out of here alive. That is a reality. It's the bittersweetness of life that gives life its flavor, right? That nothing is predictable, and that we live in a dynamic world, and we only have so much time here. That gives it depth. It gives it character. It's not something superficial. There are the ups and there are the downs. There is life, and you are given life, and there's a process of coming into this world, and I'm here to tell you there's a process of going out of this world. I've witnessed it. The body knows how to die, and I used to counsel people about this. The body knows how to die. It goes through a process as the body is starting to shut down in a natural process, with some painkillers if people need it, whatever's necessary to ease suffering, not to murder them, to ease suffering, so that the body can do what it needs to do as it moves towards that point where the consciousness leaves the physical being, because that's what it is. That's what it is. So many people can give you evidence, I guess, if you need. It's not scientific, it's subjective. It's what they've witnessed, right? In palliative care, all kinds of stories. In hospitals, all kinds of stories. And you understand palliative care is being pushed out by these MAID houses. They will. This is the normalization of buildings that kill people. And so this is my deepest fear, is that when they take you out with these drugs, and it is not, we know nothing about it. We know nothing about it, but it's doing something. You see, because most of the people that they are taking out of what they figure is suffering, or killing them, or murdering them, are actually not dying. So the body is not going through the process of death. What does that do? And then you paralyze somebody, and then you sedate them, and then you take their life. Does the soul get lost? We are soul spirit. Does it do something to the consciousness? God, because we come into the world with a process, and because I know, because I've witnessed it myself watching it, we go out in a process, right? And we're connected to something higher, because near-death experiences prove that, without a reasonable doubt. It proves that we are a consciousness, and that this is just an avatar, a suit that we use. So what these things are doing is cutting us off from the source. So it doesn't ease suffering for these poor souls that are already suffering and need support. They need connection. They need somebody to understand them. They need somebody to care, not phony care. in these Murder Incorporated franchise that will go worldwide. That's the only reason that they're being started, because they know where they're pushing people and normalizing this and taking away the sacred nature of death in us humans. We are human beings. We are divine sparks that can transcend any perceived limitation. Don't let them take this away from you. Don't think that they're going to ease your suffering. I am afraid that they're going to make the suffering worse, that you will suffer in an unnatural way in a body that you're trapped in, and that because you're not going through the natural process of it, right? Most people that are suicidal just want somebody to care. They're in dire straits because of something in their environment. These are the social determinants of health that these greedy people have stolen from you with an agenda to get you to walk to your own death. And they're harvesting the organs, and they're getting involved in organizations that help some of the most vulnerable and marginalized people. My agency, where I worked in Toronto, that's what we did. We worked with the marginalized. It would have been all my clients they would have been offering this to, right? What I was doing was keep them out of the hospital, because I didn't want them in there. Hospitals have become like the religious center of everywhere. The hospital and the doctors, those fearless administrators that are some of the most ruthless, heartless people I have ever met. Because I started researching when I finally landed at that end job that I had in an because I got out of hospitals. I didn't like them. I loved working in the community with people. It was wonderful. And helping people, problem solving for people. And then you get into a hospital environment and you find out how much of a fascist state it is and how much they don't care, how ruthless they are at the top. I started researching. I mean, people have this idea that they own the no, hospitals are private businesses. And with this MAID, with the small I, house, we can't even find out how they're getting paid. Right? Are they a nonprofit or a charity? What are they? Who's paying them? And it's normalizing doing things like this. And what do we do for people that are stuck in this situation that they've taken things, many things, flu things, other things that create chronic disease and disability, that cross the blood-brain barrier and poison the mind, and the alcoholism and all the other things, and the poor eating and the lack of exercising, and the feeling and the mentality with the masses that they're just meat suits, that they just die, and that they're terrified of dying because they think that there's nothing, because they have no connection now. It is beyond cruel, and we'll keep on talking about it. And we need to be talking. Isn't it funny? We live in a world basically run by a death cult making profit on it, and they know that we're terrified of death. They feed off that terror. So it's all around us, but we won't talk about it. We'd rather do, and I don't dissuade that, because the more that I learn about who we are, the more hopeful I am for the future that we will create. Right? We're creating this. All we have to do is turn around and create something different, and not believe what they're doing, and not let them, and not be feeding whatever energy, because we live in a world of energy fields. We are energy. So if we stop the fear of death, we're not controlled by them, right? All the fears. If we let the fear go and just understand what we are, and the bittersweet, lovely nature of who we are, and that every day and every moment and every second of the now, we can create paradise with our mind. That's what we are. We are so incredibly powerful, we humans. Isn't it terrible that younger children And young adults won't know that they have come to believe that the machine is everything and that they are faulty. You see it everywhere. You're not enough, you need this, you need that, you've got attention deficit disorder, you've got autism, which they're giving you, and it's the dementia for young people. And even there's more and more coming out with people with autism, that they're locked inside and that they are actually connected in that conscious realm where they are, right? These telepathic, which we all have. We all have that. Telekinesis, all of that. We're connected in these fields of energy, and they're messing around with the fields of energy, and they're destroying the sacredness of death to feed and harvest even more suffering from people. So I don't know what the answer is, except for me to keep saying these things and to let go of fear, right? And change the way that we look at who we are and how we function in this world. So I'm not going to go on forever and ever about this, but that's just my thought, that they are taking away from the sacredness of death. One more thing. When I talk about gray people, throughout my life I've met people, they just have this gray aura, this grayness about them. They usually wear gray, by the by, too. Don't wear colors. There's this grayness. So this head person of the MAID house, she's as gray can be. And do you know another person that is? Carney. Carney is that's an evil little man, that is, and he's gray. Look for gray people. Are they people that have actually sold their soul or never had a soul and have no spiritual connection? Because remember, those are those vessels that we call psychopaths, right, that have no connection. There's nothing in there. It's an empty vessel. And they use them to push agendas, don't you think? I met them. There's one, I have to mention her. She was such an evil person. Trevor Macumba. And she worked at RVH. She was like the second down of command. I can remember once I went up and touched her. Nurses are very... I touched that woman, I thought she was going to jump out of her fucking skin. She hated us. She hated me. She sure did. She hated me. Yeah, because I didn't drink the freaking Kool-Aid. And I was all for social determinants of health, and these were all trans, yeah. The transhumanist, technocratic. These were the technocrats. And when they came into CODA, when I worked at CODA Health down in Toronto, the same mean, angry, nasty people. Yeah, how many people's jobs did this Treva get rid of? She loved it. She loved being mean. She was like Cruella de Vil. These are the people that you're putting your hands in, and you think that they don't. My advice, stay away from hospitals. You have to get healthy. You cannot afford to have a disability, and you can do it. Our bodies are meant to do that. Our bodies are meant to care for us, right? If we give them the right conditions. And thought is the number one condition. Thought and feelings creates reality. So I've went on longer, but I had to get that in. Gray people, gray, mean, awful people. Don't trust them. They're all ruthless business people, all looking to make a name, as I call them, money whores. And you can be male or female. That's not,